Hey everyone, I'm Elliot Grove here in London, the founder of Raindance, speaking to...
Josephine Mackerras from in Brisbane, Australia.
Right, what are you doing there? I thought you made a French movie.
Yeah, I know. Well, actually, I left because I couldn't pay my rent. So yeah, but it turned out to be the best decision ever because then I got here and it's like, God, what was I ever doing there? I mean, I never planned to be in Paris forever, and so yeah, I'm here and I'm loving it.
So I was speaking to you on Friday, the 24th of July, and it's kind of a big day because your film is being released in the United Kingdom on BFI,
Yeah.
Barbican, and of course Curzon Home Cinema, which is sort of like the creme de la creme. And this morning you've woken up to a whole bunch of reviews, some mainly positive, but there's a couple that kind of stuck it into you.
I have suddenly I got paranoid because it's like the really big, you know, whoppadoobie papers. They all have kind of a sort of mean, you know, I don't know, edge to them, which I haven't seen before. It's interesting. I don't know. So maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna go on. What's your point?
Well, my point is that the Times and the Guardian and the New York Times all gave your film 2 stars. The rest all gave you 4 or even 5 stars. And I think it's because you are an outlier, a disruptor. I think you're challenging the square, social views on sex workers and relationships. And if I might say so, having known you for some time now, you've done it in a quirky, offbeat, what I call lateral way without being the least bit preachy. Do you want to explain to everyone how you came up with the idea of Alice?
First of all, I love that interpretation. I'll take that. Okay. Um, yeah. So Alice, how did I come up with it? I guess, I was working on a film about a relationship and then the whole thing with Elliot Splitzer, this big sex scandal, and just seeing the kind of the really in your face double standards that were, came out of that. And, and that was just, I found that interesting, not because I found prostitution interesting, but I found it interesting what it says about us, that we still have these attitudes, and even when we're supposed to be so liberated and whatever, and how that plays out in a relationship in a very interpersonal, you know kind of deeper way, because it's kind of blind spots we don't really see. And I'm interested how film can put a spotlight on unconscious sort of things that are hidden in our in our cultural psyche.
But as I understand from our many conversations over many, many years, too long to number here, you were in London, you were studying at Raindance, you then went to Paris, working on a big project, correct me if I got this wrong, which suddenly collapsed. You woke up one morning, found yourself pregnant, and then...
Yeah, that came first, and then the film collapse came after that. Yeah, yeah.
And then you wrote Alice, and then Jules, your son, who's now 7, plays a really pretty major role in the film.
Mm. Yeah, it was interesting because I was working on the script, and then I got pregnant, had the baby, and then that because from my short film days, I really learned to use what I have around me, and to write, with what I have in mind me around. So that kind of they're the constraints in my writing, is what do I have right now that I can use. That I had this baby, so it's like, okay, they got a baby. And actually, it was interesting from that the whole script really came together, because the
Mm,
third act is really about the kid in a way.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then if I may try to get my timeline straight here, you had the baby when Jules was 3 or 4. You started filming the film with zero money in Paris, but you filmed in sections of 4 or 5 days over what, a year and a half, was it?
We had a really great start. It was amazing, and we shot for, I don't know, it was around 18 days or something, or maybe, yeah, a little less, 16 or something like that. But it was fantastic, and it was all in the apartment, so the interiors were just so much less complicated, and everybody was like, "Whoa, we're making a movie!" So we were like 35 people or 40 people. Like, it was amazing. And
Intense.
then after that, so I got maybe 60% of the film shot, and then after that, that's when it just got. It was like it was never like that, quite like that again. It was always a really hard slog to get to get people to come back and work, and then it was like, I was still shooting like a scene. There was a scene a year later that I was, yeah.
And
Yeah.
the apartment was your apartment that you were living in at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
real Raindance style, isn't it?
It is.
Making it
Yeah.
with what you've got, you know.
Exactly. Yep.
And then the
I was trained.
post-production took another, what was it, 18 months?
The post production, well, it depends if you include deliveries.
Please don't say that word.
Yeah,
I
I
know a lot about that
know.
word.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the post production, well, we edited very gung ho again for about 5 or 6 months, and then it was another, I don't know, 4 or 5, but less intense, but really just trying to make the film work, and and yeah, I lost an editor. She was just like, I was too pedantic, and yeah, people left, because it was just like, this is too much. You're a perfectionist. You don't, you need to learn to let go. And I mean, but I'm glad I didn't. They
Yeah.
say, I read this thing that the film is, what is it? The film is succeeds in the last, I don't know, what you'd probably know this quote, where in the last tiny bit of editing or something, I don't know, where you really, if you don't, I wish I had this quote, but I don't.
It's
But
like in your,
that
yeah,
go
it's
on.
that last little touch of the soup. You either get it right or
Yeah.
wrong, you know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
just not letting go when
just
you
moving
get it
along
right.
here. You then get yourself into South by Southwest, and to everyone, including your astonishment, win the Grand Jury Prize, this little zero budget French film made by an Australian, beating out all the $10 million so-called American indies. And that's sort of a pretty major thing. There's not many prizes of that level. Remember,
It was
you called me that night. You were so excited you could hardly speak.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was incredible, and I was so exhausted because it had been such a, like, I mean, I just got in, even like with the deadline of South by, like, the film, I put the film in after the deadline had finished because it was just running, and then I found out, and I got back from Australia, and it was just like I was really sick because I was just so exhausted, and I was like having naps, 5-minute naps in between, finishing the film, getting it ready for South by. So when I got to South by, I was just like, I couldn't get out of bed. And then we won, and I danced like a 15-year-old for the whole night. It was like, yeah, it was incredible.
That's incredible. And then
Yeah,
it comes to Raindance a few months later in London, but you couldn't make it because you were by now in
in
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But we did
I
that
know, a
interview
shame.
together, didn't we?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
From the same sort of camp stool as we're talking now, I believe. So
Yeah.
basically, we don't have much time here yet, Josephine. What have you learned from Alice that you would never do again? Is there anything big?
Deferred payments. um,
Okay, that's a
the
good one. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
no, really, because and people and also because that people seem to think, because it's won all these awards, that I'm a millionaire, and I still haven't paid back the film,
Yeah,
and it was like made with almost nothing. It's crazy how,
yeah,
yeah, tough it is. I guess because also it's in French, and it's it's, yeah.
yeah.
Um, so what else? I mean, I've learned so much. I don't even know where to start with that question. I've learned everything. I mean, just so much. But I do think probably the biggest thing in a way for your audience is, don't like get that script right. A great script, people want great, and they're
Mm,
rare,
yeah,
so I mean, I spent years on the script, really trying to get it like good, and that's wasn't time wasted, because it's well, as you know, right, it's the king and the queen.
yeah,
Beginning
yeah,
was the word, and the word
yeah.
was God.
The
I got
word
that
was
from you.
God. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
that from me. That's true.
I got that from you.
And we met, God, was it? I was trying to look at my diary. It was 2006 or 2008. You were at Raindance taking a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
did a
our.
sign. I remember it was right after I came back from New York, and I did a sign, and then yeah, and you saw it, and then I went and I started studying it, doing courses at Raindance,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was amazing because it really gave me a, the training to just go, not let money stop you, not let anything stop you, and I mean, there's a real cycle, because I even got in that with the feature before Alice, and then even with Alice, the sort of looking for a producer, and you meet filmmakers that have been looking for a producer for 12 years. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? I mean,
yeah,
because the years can go by, and
yeah,
and they'll get you to change this and change that, and
yeah.
that takes months, and there's a point where just you have to do it. And I think my training at Raindance really gave me that, knowing that that's possible, because I'd
Well,
also, my short films were all done like that. So,
yeah, well, that's very sweet of you to say that. By the way, thinking back to my question about what you would do differently on Alice, I was hoping that you would say get your paperwork done, because
oh,
that's when I joined Alice, wasn't it? To get all those bloody
yeah.
contracts. Oh my, and deliverables.
Yeah, the deliveries, and nobody warns you about the deliveries. Yeah,
No,
and it's
no.
true. I don't think Alice would have been released commercially if you hadn't have come on board and helped.
Well, thank you.
Seriously,
That's
because I
credit.
was like drowning, just drowning, and no idea what the hell I was doing. Like,
Yeah.
who? I mean, nobody warns you. It's deliveries. Be
Yeah,
warned.
the M&E track and the closed captioning and the on and
And
on and
it
on.
doesn't end. And the music, right? The music that you thought was like a little unknown, and turns out to be the guitarist of Air. And oh my God. And then to change it, what costs more? I mean, yeah, it just kept going. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kept going and
By the
going.
way, I was thrilled to be able to help you, but it wasn't just me, it was the whole team at Raindance. We've got a fantastic team, so I could send off to this person or that person. I was just coordinating the recipe, if you
Well,
like, but it
I
was a
thank them
delight.
all. Yes.
And and there was something that happened last September in London at Raindance on our closing night, which you were not at, and you
Hmm.
won the Spirit of Raindance Award with the jury
Yay.
picked, which was great too. So
Yeah, I know. That was so good. And so kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, that's the spirit of Raindance was in, how I made Alice, which is kind of really, totally relevant, right? Alice, just do it, make it with what
yeah.
you've got. Yeah.
Yeah. So just before we go, Josephine, what's your next big project? Do you have something that's on the stove ready to boil, or are you still
I wish, I
shopping for
wish,
stuff?
I wish. I'm shopping and, and also looking at offers, which is an amazing position to be in. And I'm really hoping, I mean, I'm starting to get that I need to write thing, but I've got to find but I'm starting to miss it now, which is a great sign because it means I'm recovering. Because I think, in the heart of hearts, I'm a writer director.
Yeah.
But it's great reading other material and, and novels and all of that stuff. So yeah.
So will you stay in Australia? Will you move to America or back to
I want to
Europe?
stay. I want to stay in Australia.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well, there's a
I'm just
vibrant film industry in Australia.
yeah, and we're not that far from. I'm from LA, and the States, and now I've got a manager and and an agent. So the communication there is amazing, and Australia is very encouraging of those relationships, and yeah, and there's a lot of support here for me, which I never had. Which I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
I
I mean, the
used,
Anglophone world seems to have really embraced Alice. It's very interesting.
yeah, I remember meeting you years ago in London or at Cannes or hearing from you in Paris, and you were always living in the moment on the extreme edge. Do you remember
Yeah,
some of
well,
those? You would tell me matter of factly of whatever, who was banging at the door looking for you, whatever. And I think, oh my God. But congratulations to you, Josephine.
thank you.
Magicking Alice out of your magician's hat like a true artist is amazing. And if I don't see you again for a while, which I hope is not true, but please promise me something.
Uh-huh.
Keep in
Uh-huh.
touch with me and with Raindance what you're doing, because everyone at Raindance is a huge fan, and the entire office of 14 is tracking your career with great interest. So
Yay.
thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Yeah, well, thank you for everything. Yeah. Not least the deliveries, but also all the rain dance training. It
Yeah, well,
served me
thank
well.
you. Good. Well, keep in touch. And everyone, please keep your mind's eye open for Alice, a wonderful film that deals with some taboo subjects in a brand new way that will make you re-examine your own thoughts and processes about sex working, and relationships. Did I get
Thanks.
that right?
Yeah, yeah,
Kinda.
yeah, yeah. Sure. It is what you want it to be.
Okay, thanks, Josephine. I'm gonna
Thanks,
go.
Elliot.
Yeah,
Okay,
keep in touch. Yeah.
I will. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.